Hey girl, hey, welcome to Tia's Table. Let's talk about everything from the latest fitness and wellness trends, recipes that are actually worth cooking, and the craziness that's happening on our side of the internet. Sit back, grab a snack, and let's have some girl talk. Hey girl, hey, welcome back to another episode of Tia's Table. It is Wednesday at 11:37. My candle is lit. It says Delulu and Thriving. Both are true. They are outside cutting the grass. So I apologize in advance for any background noise that I am unable to edit out because y'all know I don't edit these episodes. So let's get right into it. What have I been eating lately that I feel is worth sharing? Now, I tried smoked oysters out of the tin for the first time yesterday. And when I mean to tell you that they were some kind of good, they were some kind of good. They will be back on my grocery list probably again this weekend, but I will have all of the things to go with them. I will have more things to kick that up just a little bit. I had them with some sushi seasoning, a little garlic powder, and some of that crunchy chili oil that's super popular right now. And that was good, but let me tell you, I have plans for those smoked oysters. They will include probably pickled onion. If I can get my hands on some of those peppers that they sell at Jimmy John's, I'm going to get some of those and make me a nice little grazing tray for one day this weekend. Now, I do have cookbook club this weekend. I'm supposed to be making an Oktoberfest charcuterie board, which will include some different types of German sausages. There is a potato salad recipe in the cookbook that I'm going to make. There is also an apple fennel salad in the cookbook, but one of the other women, she's bringing a charcuterie board, chopped salad situation. And I don't know if I need to make that salad because I know someone else is doing a whole salad board. You know what I'm saying? So I probably won't make the salad. But absolutely the potato salad, absolutely the German sausages. There is also a little tidbit in the cookbook about offering pretzels with your sausage on the board. And see, and this is where my ambition gets to be a little bit too much. On the one hand, I'm like, ooh, I should make fresh pretzels. Have I ever made pretzels before? No. Do I think I could probably make them? Sure. One of the recipes, which they have a recipe for pretzels in this cookbook that we're all cooking from, I read through that recipe and it's actually not so bad, but it is a lot of steps. And I'm just kind of like, ooh, am I in the mood? Am I in the mood? I don't know. I have another book from the library that has a pretzel recipe in it. I want to read through that recipe to see if that one is a little bit shorter and or quicker, or if it just sounds easier. And if it is, I might try my hand at making fresh pretzels because, I would like to do something special. But if I buy the pretzel bites, and this is just me thinking out loud, I'm like, well, now, Tia, if you go ahead and save yourself some time and you actually buy the pretzel bites, you can still get really good ones. I'm sure you warm them up in the oven. Girl, the ladies won't even mind. They won't even mind. That would actually free me up to maybe make some goodies for the ladies because, I'm in my gift giving era. I want to make the home good things and then give them away. Now, I am stuck between making jerky for everybody. And the only reason I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I can make jerky for everybody because it's 5 people. So if I made jerky for everybody, either everybody would only get a little tiny bit, which I feel like isn't worth giving them at all, or maybe everybody wouldn't get the same type of jerky, which I kind of feel like may go over okay. So I thought about doing that, but then because one of the ladies in the group, I told her I would make her some salsa and give it to her the next time I saw her. I'm like, or I could just make a lot of salsa and just give everybody homemade salsa, which I feel like you can't go wrong doing that either. Like, just give everybody some of that. So I'm going to see. But I would like to make things and do things and take things. I just don't want to overwhelm myself, because German sausage, that's something that I cook all the time. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about having all the little accoutrements that go with that. I'm sure that's going to be fine. I'm more so focused on how to elevate my board, and I feel like homemade pretzels would really elevate it. But at the same time, it's like, ooh, girl, do you want to do that? And if you choose to just buy those pretzels, you could always make something else for the ladies and take that, and it'll be fine. So I don't know. This is my second time calling you guys. I did record a whole nother episode, but then number one, they started cutting the grass, and that kind of distracted me. And then number two, I felt like some of the topics were running a little bit longer than what I like. And in the tradition of me not editing these episodes, I'm like, I would rather start over than to go through here and try to cut out some of these extra long chats. So let's get right into my visit back to the gym. My visit back to the gym went fine. We went on opening day. The gym is beautiful. It's got a huge sauna. It's so nice. They have all the machines, all of the spaces. There's CrossFit. There's an outdoor turf situation. They have machines upstairs. There's a yoga studio, a group fitness studio. And in most gyms, that is all one space. But nope, they have a separate studio for yoga. They have a big group fitness classroom. They have a cycle studio. There's a cardio cinema where there's a big movie screen on the wall, and then they have treadmills in there. So I guess they play movies, and you can go in there and walk and watch a movie, at the same time. I felt like the gym was done really well. It was clean. They have a huge smoothie bar. Like, the whole front desk area seemed like really nice, really big. They had a lot of snacks and things available for people up there. There were a lot of trainers out on the floor, like working with clients. Some of them I remember, some of them were new faces to me. So all in all, I would have to say that the gym was nice. It was pretty. And because I know how much the membership is over there, I feel comfortable saying you are getting a lot for your money being a member of that gym. I personally like that it is right across the street from my grocery store because I'm up there all the time. I also like that it is extremely close to where I live now, which will help me go over there and use their sauna whenever I want to. And because it is so much closer to my house now, I might actually attend a group fitness class or two. Not all the time, but just whenever the spirit moves me. I'm more inclined to go back specifically for the sauna than I would be for anything else. While I was over there, it really did occur to me that, like, yeah, Tia, you can do your workouts at home. Like, none of the actual working out parts pulled me in enough that I was like, oh yeah, I got to do my workouts over here. I did not leave there feeling that way. I kind of left there feeling like, oh, this was pretty. This was nice. I would come to sit in the sauna. Like, I will make sure I have a towel and my book, and I could come over here and sit in the sauna forever and ever. I really, really could. And that's what I plan to do. Do I plan to be going over there all the time to work out? Probably not. I'd probably only go when maybe I wanted to work my back a little bit more. But even with that being said, I really do feel like the workouts in the Ladder app do a good job of targeting the muscle groups that they say the workout is going to target. So even right now, I can't sit here and say like, oh yeah, I gotta be in the gym for such and such equipment. Truly, the only piece of equipment that I would go for would be the elliptical, but honestly, they didn't even have that many traditional ellipticals. All of the cardio machines that I saw, they had a lot of treadmills, and then they had a lot of stair climbers, and then they had a lot of those machines that look like a stair climber and an elliptical got married. They had that, but the traditional elliptical, the one where you look like you're gliding, kind of like you're skiing, but running at the same time, I didn't really see any of those. Now, my husband told me that they have them, but they just weren't in the area that I was in. And to that, I would say, why? Like, why wouldn't they be in the cardio section? Why would y'all have them somewhere else in the gym? But so, yeah, the next time I do go, I'll have somebody walk me over to where those machines are. And if I were to ever go to the gym on a regular basis, it would specifically be for that elliptical and then to sit in the sauna. And maybe I would do that once a week, but I don't feel like I need to be over there every day. And that's mainly because it was a lot of people in there. It was a lot of people in there, which is good. That's a good thing. But I just don't feel like I have to be over there like mixed up in it. You know what I'm saying? To get my workout done. While I was there, I did my ladder app workout. When we got to the portion of the workout that you do down on the floor, I actually went into the group fitness room to do that because I'm like, I'm not about to get on the floor in here around all these people. I don't even have a yoga mat. So yeah, let me go into a room where people haven't like walked all over it, probably, hopefully, since this is the first day this gym is open. But, you know, duly noted, if I do ever come back to the gym and I have plans on doing my workout, I should be able to bring a yoga mat and, you know, finish my whole workout out here on the floor. I just wasn't comfortable doing it that day. So yeah, I don't know. And maybe I shouldn't judge it off of the first day that it was open, because of course that's always a little chaotic with people just being in there walking around and doing the most. But I feel like it's going to be that way for quite some time because the gym has gone viral on the internet. And because of that, you do have people in the surrounding areas that don't necessarily live where I live, but people who live close enough to be like, oh, dang, I would drive over there for this gym. So I want to give the gym some time to kind of cool back down. And then maybe once it's done that, I might consider going more than once a week. But for right now, I'm like, yeah, no, y'all can have it. But it's really pretty. It's really pretty. The Pilates studio has actually charged me for my membership. So I'm going to have to start going back over there because they done already took my money. Now, you would like to think that they would have called me first and been like, hey, girl, how you feeling? How you doing? Are you ready? What's good? Because we're about to charge your card, just to let you know. But nope, they didn't do that. One day my husband came up to me and was like, hey girl, have you been keeping your eye on your card? And I'm like, no, not really, because I haven't been spending any money. Like I haven't been spending money. So like, what am I going over there to look for? And he was like, oh yeah, well, because they charged you. So either you need to call them or you might want to think about going over there and taking some classes because you've already paid for them. And I just wanted you to know. And I was like, okay, so I went into the app, pulled up the schedule, booked myself for some classes, and we will see how things go. On the one hand, I really don't feel ready to go back to Pilates because my core does just get tired so quickly. Like I used to be able to hold a plank for longer than 2 minutes. And when I mean that, I mean I could hold it for longer than 2 minutes and it was no sweat off my back. Like it was like I was laying there in some type of restorative yoga pose, right? Now I start shaking at about the 45-second mark. I have been able to hold one for a minute because we do them intermittently. In the ladder app, some of the workouts have you do a plank test, some of them don't. In the test that I've done where we have had to do 90 seconds, I think it was the 90-second plank test where I was able to hold it for a little over a minute. I had to take a quick little break and then I got back into it and I was able to finish like maybe the last 25 seconds. But for someone who used to be able to like do that with no problem, it's not really the physical act of doing it. It's more of the mental irritation of not being able to do it that bothers me. So on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, I could probably go back to Pilates and it will be fine because I do need to work on regaining my core strength because I can see where I have lost some of it. And I know Pilates will help with that. But on the other hand, I'm like, I don't want to be over there getting pissed off every other day because they're telling me to do stuff that I could do this time last year and now I can't do it. Like, yeah. But I also understand everybody's got to start somewhere, and sometimes you have to start over somewhere. And so I'm trying to like mentally embrace the start over of it all, which really shouldn't matter because they didn't already charge my card. So I'm gonna have to go over there and do something. These feet are going in some straps. So I booked myself for some classes, and I will keep y'all updated on how the classes go. I have also taken a look at the instructors that are left from, I guess, like the new staff that's over there now and the staff that left. And one of my instructors that I do still enjoy, she's there. She teaches at a time that I can go, but she does not teach level 2 classes. So I'm going to start with her because she's a very good instructor. I'm going to start with her, see how I feel. I did book myself for one level 2 class. I think I'm on the wait list. Or did I get in? I can't remember. But I did join the wait list, I'll say, for some level 2 classes just to try it out, just to see where I'm at with things. And then I will book future classes based on that. Now, what I will say is that someone did drop a little nugget to me and tell me that they had heard that people were having a hard time even getting into classes over there, that the studio is now so booked that they paused memberships, meaning they weren't even accepting new members to the studio because all the classes are booked and they have wait list. What I did notice, I tried to find any level 2 class that didn't have a wait list. I scrolled all the way to the end of the calendar, which the furthest out that they had, I think, was the last day in July. I scrolled all the way out to the end of July, and every single level 2 class that was on or that is currently on the schedule, all of them have a wait list, which lets me know that the people who go there now, number one, they got hip to the game because, girl, that's what I used to do. Last year when they would open up that calendar, I would go in there and book myself all the way out to the calendar ended, right? So that lets me know people got hip to the game, right? But it also lets me know that they're not offering enough classes. So if you can't go at a certain time during the week, like then, girl, you're never getting to go. You're never getting to go. So I don't know. I'll keep y'all posted with how my return to Pilates goes, because a part of me is excited for it and a part of me is like, I don't know. Let's wrap up our review of Brandy's book. I feel like, and I'm going to try to do just like Brandy's memoir, I'm going to give you guys the cliff notes. You might see or notice that there are some holes in this review, but it is on theme with how that memoir read, so it'll be fine. Let's get through this together. I felt like, number one, her memoir was a little overly wordy to me. I felt like at times it sounded more like a novel than it did a memoir. I think she would make an incredible author, like a fiction writer. She would, because her language is really beautiful. It just, to me, didn't make sense for a memoir. Like, at times I just wanted to be like, Brandy girl, just tell the story. And instead of you telling me all of these sensory things, tell me how your mama responded when you told her you were pregnant, because you completely left that out of this book. You talk about things, but you don't really talk about them. Or you'll give us like one, which I guess is fair because it's a memoir. You give us like the one side of a story or like your perspective of it, but you don't tell us the reaction from the other people around you. So I felt like, for example, when she talks about getting pregnant, number one, she tells you about the baby's father, their relationship, friends to lovers, decided one day that they just didn't want to be lovers anymore. It was an amicable split until he does an interview and basically tells all their business. And of course, they didn't like that so much. And she feels like that was the turning point in her career when people found out that they lied about being married or being engaged or whatever. She said after that, CoverGirl dropped her. All the brand deals, endorsements, sponsorships, whatever she had, everybody let go of her. And then basically after that, her music never took off again, to make a long story short, right?
But when she's talking about this, you never hear her talk about what it was like finding out she was pregnant, going home and telling her family what they said, what was the response, that initial, right? Because obviously people come around, and then by the time the baby gets here, everybody's happy for you and it's a good thing and babies are a blessing. But I'm like, girl, just that one story, there were so many loopholes in it. It does make me wonder what other pieces to these other stories are probably missing. Now, I do have to give her credit. When she talks about her romantic relationships, she does seem to give full accounts of those situations. Like she tells you about the man, she tells you his name, drags him for filth, talks about what he did to her, how it made her feel, what her parents' response to some of that was. Maybe not as much though. Maybe not as much. But, you know, she kind of gives you a full recount of all of that. But when it comes to like the professional stuff, the stuff we actually cared about, no, you really don't get the full to-do of any of it. She just kind of glosses over enough of it to make you feel like you learned something. Like when she talked about Thea. Now, when she talked about Thea, I think because Thea did her so dirty, she did talk about Thea being mean to her. Brandy talks about how she was young and kind of inexperienced and was looking for that to be a good situation. Like she was looking to learn from Thea, have a good experience for that being her first set. All of that. She didn't get that. And then it took her mama coming to set one day, sitting there next to the director, for everybody to kind of sort of start being a little nice to her. But by then it was like a day late and a dollar short. And the network had kind of seen the offset dynamic between the two of them and decided to cancel the show. And Jason Weaver actually confirmed a lot of what Brandy says in the book. If you go online, there's an interview with him. And he basically says, yeah, Thea was mean to that girl. We didn't understand it. No one knew why. But when Brandy really took off and skyrocketed after Thea, everybody was so happy for her because we had seen how she had been treated on that particular set. So she tells that. But then as she goes through the book and she talks about like working with Rodney Jerkins and how at first it was great because they was cranking out all the hits and the albums were a success and it was great. When she talks about their falling out, she doesn't really talk about it in a way that builds a case. I will say that. She doesn't really talk about it in a way that builds a case for why they would have fallen out the way they did. She just kind of says she felt like he was giving a lot of hit records to everybody else, and she names them. She says Toni Braxton, Jennifer Lopez, Beyonce. Did she say Mariah Carey? I can't remember. But when you're listening to the book, she literally goes down the roster of all the girls who had started working with Darkchild after the success of Never Say Never. And she feels like she would ask him for songs and he would be like, no, like that's for Jennifer Lopez. Or apparently he wasn't man enough for me. Brandy wanted that song, but of course we know it went to Toni Braxton. And in hindsight, I gotta say, I could not imagine Brandy singing that song because of the image that she had back at the time. I'm like, yeah, she was never positioned as this, I don't know, as this woman that was really in charge of her womanhood. Like, I could not imagine Brandy singing, "He wasn't man enough for me." Like, what are you thinking? Like, do you understand the sass and the attitude? I can't hear it. But she uses that example. And she's like, yeah, once he started basically giving all these other girls my sound, basically like we broke up after that. Like we stopped working together. And while she says the pregnancy is ultimately what did her career in, I would say that when she decided to stop working with him, that's probably what did her career in. Because when you think about all of the successful songs he had after that, I'm like, no, girl, that man kept cranking out hits. I think You just probably needed to wait for the songs that were more appropriate for your voice and how you had already positioned yourself in the industry or to your audience. Now, she does say that because of not because of the pregnancy, but because of the image that they had like held on so tight to for all those years, she said it was hard for her to kind of grow up and grow out of us seeing her like as Moesha, and that she really struggled with that. But, I think let me just say, and I'm no Sonia Norwood, right? My daughter only sings here at home, not in front of an audience of any kind. But let me just say, listening to that book, number one, I'm like, Sonia, where were you? Like, I know you were her manager and you were booking her for all the things, but girl, after you booked her for the things, where were you? Because you wasn't on set at Thea, and that was early on. So I know if you wasn't on the set of Thea, you definitely probably were not with her on tour for all those cities that she was going to when the whole Wanye thing was happening. Because I know she had to tell you about that. And if you was on tour with her, she wouldn't have had to tell you. I feel like once she was a little older, when she talks about dating the guy that's the dream, which, side note, when she talked about all those other boyfriends, she gave their names. I can't think of her baby daddy's name, but I know she gives it in the book. When she talked about that dreamer or the dream, whatever his name is, the backup dancer that she met while she was doing Moesha, she never gives his real like government name. And I wonder if that's because he was abusive. Like he was verbally, emotionally, and physically abusive towards her. So I wonder if a part of her was kind of just like scared to speak his name because she never gives it. Or are we supposed to know who he is based off of his stage name? Because I don't know who he is based off of that name. But even with that, I'm like, yeah, girl, you're a woman now. Like, tell us his name so we can look him up and and drag him. Let us find him so we can give him his 2026 due of having the mud slung at you via the internet. But yeah, like she, for whatever reason, she chose not to do that, which I guess, sure. The only time in that book that I felt like we got like a real full story of any kind was when she talks about that accident where one of the people in the accident lost their life. She talks about how she felt. She talks about the day of the accident. She talks about how afterwards, she got sued and they settled. She talked about how her mama and her team wanted her to go on TV and basically plead for some public sympathy. And Brandy finally was like, absolutely not. Somebody lost their life. I'm not about to get on TV and beg people to forgive me or feel bad for me. Like that family lost their loved one. No, I'm not doing that. But outside of that, that was the only time where I felt like she told a story that didn't have no holes in it. Because absolutely, yes, Brandy, when your parents found out that you were with Wanye underage, what was the response to that other than them being like, I told you not to do that? There had to be more. And because she's so descriptive in other parts of the book where it's truly just unnecessary, I say to myself, oh girl, you had the words. You had the words to give us to say, this is what my mama said. This is how my daddy responded when I told them about this relationship with Wanye and how I've been running around behind him and how he cheated on me. And I found out because I pulled up next to him at a red light with this other woman in his car. Like, yes, like, girl, what? Give us all of it. Give us all of it. I literally titled my review of this book, Almost Doesn't Count. And if you get it, you get it. I had to name it that because I'm like, ooh, it was almost a memoir. Like, girl, it was almost. But after listening to this book, I did not learn really anything new about you, except for that maybe you had a couple boyfriends we didn't know about. And at the end of this book, I felt the same way about you as I did before reading it. And I don't think that's the point of the memoir. And I love her music. Like I said, Never Say Never is a masterpiece. But after listening to her memoir, I kind of feel like, yeah, you would be a good novelist. you would write some good fictional stories because your language is very beautiful. However, I just feel like it didn't really serve a purpose in a memoir, and I would have rathered you use those words to tell us some stuff we didn't know, to spill some tea, give me something, tell me some stuff. Even when she talks about Ray J, and I get it, that's your best friend, that's your little brother, you love him down, but I'm pretty sure you had to bear witness to his rise and then ultimate, not really his fall, but like the messiness of his situation too. Like, where was any of that? Like, you talk about how he's been in your shadow, how he did have a successful song, but like none of his albums really took off. You talk about him being on Moesha, but you don't really talk about anything else other than you two as siblings having an understanding that he's really never been in your shadow and that he's apparently always been super happy for you, and he's always been, fine getting whatever he can get as things come to him, but that he ends up finding success in his own right. But she doesn't say that his success is due to like reality TV or him making those glasses or that bike or like whatever. Like, she doesn't talk about any of that. She definitely never brings up him and the whole sex tape or him and his wife and like how any of that has impacted her. And I feel like there was a way she probably could have done that without centering herself in it. There was a way to do that because, girl, that is just as much as part of your life as I'm sure it is his. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I feel like there were a lot of loopholes in her story, and maybe I feel that way because I lived through the rise and soft landing of Brandy. I feel like this recent tour with Monica was a huge success. But before that tour, you really didn't see or hear much from her other than her occasional appearance on TV. Like, she did definitely play Chardonnay on The Game. That was fun and that was cute. She definitely had that show on BET. I think it was called Zoe, and I think it only had like one season. And I watched it, and it was okay. Yeah, it was fine. But yeah, and she did definitely make appearances in movies here and there, but once she had that baby, and it really wasn't having the baby, once she told that lie about being engaged and married and having the baby, yeah, I have to admit, she's right. Things just never got back on track for her. And I think that's just because people felt like she didn't have to lie. Like, you really didn't have to lie. And the baby daddy said in that interview that was the mama's idea. Like, it was the mama's idea for them to lie. I'm sure that man is telling the truth. And because of that, I'm just like, yeah, Brandy, you know what? If you feel like the trajectory of your career changed when you told that lie, I'm going to assume that you are right. And I'm going to also just go out on a limb and say, had you told the truth in a chest up, chest out kind of way, I think you would have been fine. Like, I think people would have almost embraced her and loved her all the more because number one, it would have cracked the whole squeaky clean image, because now you can be like, fine, I'm not squeaky clean like Moesha. Like, me and Moesha are two different people. I'm Brandy. That's Moesha. In real life, Brandy is a 24-year-old because, girl, back at the time when you got pregnant, people had us thinking you was still in high school. You was still a teenager. I'm listening to your memoir, finding out that you was a whole big 24 when that happened. So really, it's kind of like, well, it's not like she was a child. She was a woman. Young woman, but she was a woman. And she's not your typical 24-year-old. Like, she didn't just get out of college and she's trying to figure out her life. No. She was already someone who was settled into a career, who already had financial success, and she definitely had the means to kind of do whatever she needed to do to be a good mom and still have a career. And had that been my daughter, I would have told her, you don't have to marry that man. Like, let's start there. You don't even have to stay with him if you don't want to, because, baby, we got this. We can hire a nanny. I'm that baby's grandma. I'll watch your baby and we can keep this train moving. You can stay in the studio. You can take the movie roles, keep going with your endorsement deals and all of that. But we're going to have a chin up, chest out attitude about this. And we're going to keep it pushing. Because you know, one thing we know is that the news cycle is nasty when things are popping. But eventually something else will come across people's news feeds. And that was back in the day when we didn't even have social media and all of this. That MTV news ticker would have had something else on it if we just gave the world enough time. So this too shall pass, boo. Let's keep it pushing. But no, they didn't. They chose to run. And I feel like that was a common theme throughout this book. In moments where I'm like, girl, speak up, say something for yourself, or tell somebody something, she would choose not to. There was a moment in this book where she says that man is abusive. He's awful. They break up. And then on a day where she's going through some type of breakdown of some sort, she calls the man that was abusive. I don't get it. Number one, I'm like, what were you having that type of breakdown about? Was it about the career, or like, what was it about? She doesn't really ever name that. And then I'm like, of all the people, why would you call him if he was so awful? Yeah, like, I don't get it. Luckily, at this point, that man was so busy, he didn't have time for that, and he drops her off at home. Then when she talks about Whitney Houston's death, she kind of talks about that in a way where it doesn't necessarily center her, but she claims that, like, that whole day, she just had this weird feeling. Like, she just had this weird feeling like she was coming down with something, like she could feel it in her throat. And she thought her vocal cords were damaged. They thought maybe she just had stage fright. She goes to the doctor. The doctor was like, nah, girl, you good. But she just couldn't shake this feeling. Long story short, fast forward, Whitney Houston passes away. Then she talks about her and Whitney's relationship quite a bit in this book. And you get to learn how it started when Brandy was just a child and how it morphed into this thing where, you know, they were comfortable calling each other on the phone. And she talks about how Whitney, like, slipped her a note. I think it was the last time that they were around each other before Whitney died. But, like, in the book, she's like, but I'm never going to share what the note said. I feel like that was just for me. Which, okay, yeah, keep some things for yourself. But, honey, I didn't know if you knew this. You're supposed to be telling a memoir. Like, you're supposed to be telling us your life story. We're supposed to finish this book and learn things about you that we didn't already know. And so far, other than finding out that you had a couple boyfriends, we haven't really learned much. And what you have decided to tell has been very lightly glossed over. It's like you almost told us, but you didn't. And that's why I named my review on Audible Almost Doesn't Count. Well, I love Brandy. I respect her place in music history. God knows I do. I still play both of her first two albums like they just came out. Now, one other thing I'll say about that memoir is that it did make me realize how much in real time I'm actually a reflection of the stuff that she was talking about. So, like, yes, I was there for that first album, played it until it probably had a crack in it. Never Say Never, same thing. I still own both CDs. They're downstairs in the basement in my book of CDs. After Never Say Never, I couldn't tell you a thing. I know she had that song with Kanye West, and I know she had a song with Chris Brown, 2 singles. Past that, girl, I don't know. But she claims that culturally, those later albums have had an impact and people do really love them. They just didn't have top charting success, which at the end of the day is important to record labels and to the artists. So it's like, girl, I get it. I get it. I get it, but I also feel like that memoir could have been a 1-hour story on Netflix and it would have had the same impact. Like, you probably could have told your whole story on there and it would have been fine. So I don't know. What did y'all think about Brandy's book? Moving on, we finally got to see Tia Mowry's new boyfriend. Lots of people had lots of things to say. People were calling him a YN, and I don't know if that's because he has locks or if because he just looked young or a combination of the two, but I know it was something about that I didn't like. Now, I understand I live in the land of the YN, so I know what they look like. And when I saw that man, that's not what I saw, because I didn't see no ski mask. I didn't see no hoodie. I did not have a certain level of uncomfortability because, see, what people don't know about YNs is that some of them are really respectful and they are no threat to you. It's just how they like to dress. Do you know what I'm saying? But then some of them, like all people that could look just as square as you want them to look, might have a little filth in their game and they might be up to no good. But it's unfair of us to just label all of our sons and nephews with that title solely based off of how they look. Now, this man happens to be an educator and an artist. He's 39 years old, based in Los Angeles, and rumor has it they met because her daughter was in his art class. And so that's all we know. And that she really, really likes him a whole lot and says she's in love. That's all we know. And I think that's all we need to know. And I think we're good. I think that man probably hates the fact that we know who he is now. But the comments under all of the pictures of them are first class. You gotta love us as a community. And I love the fact that we hold her in such high esteem and we really do want the best for her and that we celebrate her because she is so vulnerable online that I think seeing who she's in a relationship with is something that we all kind of wanted to see. And now that we've seen it, we're going to let them move on. Sorry, I had to take a sip of water. We are going to let them move on. Now, you can't bring up Tia without bringing up Tamera. Unfortunately, that is the sister of it all. And Tamera came to Threads the other day. She came on there and said, hey, I'm new here. And people said, you might be new here, but you aren't new to the insurrection or January 6th. I'm going to need to know where you and your husband both was on both days. And what are your thoughts and feelings about them? We also want to know who you voted for in the last election quickly before we start talking to you over here. And if you act like you don't want to answer these questions, it's about to get real bad for you real quick. And that's what happened. Y'all didn't run her off of Threads because it's quiet as it's kept. Tamera don't care about us. We were never the target audience. Hello. Like, she didn't come to Threads when she said, hi, I'm new here. That hi was not for us. Okay. That hi was for another part of Threads that we don't know nothing about. And I'm pretty sure she will eventually find her algorithm and her algorithm will find her. She just accidentally ended up on so many of our pages because what she doesn't realize is that while she does not claim to have racial issues or political issues, algorithms do. So when she came to Threads was like, oh, let me drop you over here in Black Threads because, girl, you were on a famous Black TV show and we know people know you. We know the Black girls know you. She got dropped off over there and Black Threads was like, oh, hold on. All skin folk ain't kinfolk, and y'all done dropped her off in the wrong neighborhood. So we're going to need to ask her a couple qualifying questions before we let her move in over here. And let me tell you, the jokes were funny. They were all up and down the timeline, but I gotta say, we gotta let up off of that. We gotta let up off of that. Y'all are gonna have to leave that lady alone. I don't think anybody deserves to be bullied for an eternity. And I think a lot of peace comes with acceptance. I think we are just going to have to accept that that girl is not her sister. Even though they're twins, they're siblings, they love each other, I'm sure. They are nothing alike. And we're going to have to accept that and let that lady go be free over on that other side of Threads. Knowing that the stuff that she posts or the content that she makes or the narratives that she pushes, none of it is aimed or directed towards us. And we know that because she was on a daytime talk show where all of her perspectives, the points she made, all of it was aimed somewhere else because it wasn't at the target demographic for that show at all. It wasn't. It wasn't. And I kind of hate that for her, but then also I kind of understand that it's 2026 and people don't let you just get away with stuff anymore. Like, and by that, I mean, let's say what's something people will let you get away with these days? People might let you get away with some simple stuff, like maybe cursing out somebody who, the court is open for whether or not people should be getting cursed out in public. Like, you might show out somewhere and you might not have been in the right when you showed out, but people will be like, okay, everybody crashes out every now and again. Let's, whatever, let's move on. People are not going to ever let you get away with the fact that you are on the wrong side of political history, not in 2026, especially when there are receipts of you spewing hyper conservative views to people who for a fact don't hold those same morals, ideas, views, whatever you want to call them. And I think what is unfortunate is that I know that job being on The Real was probably good for her career. It probably helped her out in a lot of ways because it got her out in front of a lot of people in a different way than we're used to seeing her, right? The Real was kind of like the everyday black girls, The View, where they would talk about certain topics, talk about things that were important, but it was in that fun, like, sister girl way until the show kind of went left. And the show did end up going left, but until the show went left. So while she was on that show, she would talk about things and she would say things that were very jarring. And I think it was only jarring because you would kind of forget that even though she is this person that you looked at as like Black Hollywood royalty, you would have to also kind of swallow the fact that she's not really who you thought she was. And then I think what makes matters worse with that is that she does have a twin sister who you also hold in high esteem, who for a fact aligns more with the morals, values, ideals, struggles, and ambitions as most Black women, right? And I know that has to be hard for her to be constantly getting compared to her sister. But I think where the grace falls short is that, like, girl, you could have always kept a lot of this to yourself. Number one, you could have kept that to yourself, and you could have maybe kept a lot of it. You just could have kept a lot of it. You could have kept a lot of it. You could have had these feelings and thoughts in private. But when you talk about them openly as if they are the way, what everybody should be doing, people are not going to let you forget that. And then while she shouldn't be punished for who she's married to or who he works for, because again, that provides some type of financial security for them as a family, I would just have to say that unfortunately, that's just not how things go. It's just not. People just automatically assume that if your husband thinks one way and says certain things and views things in a certain way, then yes, you do too, because you're married to him. So birds of a feather, what can we say? But if you have been on Threads over the past couple of days, you have seen what the internet has done to her. And I'm sure she'll be back. Like, she's not afraid of us. She doesn't care about what we think because we were never the intended audience. She'll find herself on the right side of Threads pretty soon. Last weekend was Coachella, the first weekend of it. And I enjoyed seeing the looks. I enjoyed seeing the tents and the campsites and all of the things. I love some good organic Coachella content. It's fun, right? What I was not expecting from the conversation this year were the overwhelming amount of TikTok creators that were upset that they did not get invited to Coachella by a brand. Like there are several videos out there, if they haven't been deleted, but there are several videos out there right now of basically these creators who, might I add, we have seen go shopping for luxury items. We have seen them drop hundreds of thousands of dollars on all kinds of things. We have seen them travel and take very nice trips. We have heard them talk about how much money they make on these apps. So to see you now get on the internet and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't get invited by a brand to go to Coachella. Like they really need to do better about having more of a diverse representation in the influencers that they invite, which true enough, they do. They need to make sure that they are bringing along a diverse group of ambassadors for these kinds of brand trips. I agree. But what I don't agree with is if you wanted to go, why didn't you just go? Like if you wanted to go to the festival, like if you wanted to go to Coachella and you claim to be making all this money, I have seen you spend a lot of money. God knows I have. I've seen the hauls, right? Why didn't you just pay for yourself to go? Like I just watched you unbag or unbox, whatever they call it, a new Birkin plus a few other things. That was your Coachella money right there. Like really, if you wanted to go, why didn't you just go? Like, why are you making videos complaining about the fact that a brand didn't pay for your trip to go do that? Feel like some of those videos are a little tone deaf and they don't even know it because they've now ascended to another level of being content creators where they have lost touch with the fact that you complaining about that is not a good look. Like if you wanted to go, you should have just went. And if you didn't want to pay for it yourself, then you do what everyone else does and you stream it online. You stream it online, you watch it, you talk about it like the rest of us do, and then you move on. But that is not something we should be on the internet complaining about. Because what do you even mean? Usher and Chris Brown have recently announced that they will be going on tour together. I won't be going to that concert, mainly because I've never been the biggest Chris Brown fan. Like, I think he makes commercial music, which is nice. His songs are not bad by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's a fantastic dancer and he's a phenomenal entertainer. When I see him on TV, I'm like, wow, he really puts on a show. Will I be giving Chris Brown any of my money? That last tour he just had, I did not feel moved to go. And quite recently, now I did hate that I missed out on the Usher experience. I really did. But with Usher's most recent comments about Puff Daddy, I said, baby, every day one falls on their sword. When you could just shut up, when you could just not talk, when you could just be media trained enough to say, ooh, I really don't have anything to say about that, to be quite honest with you, because that would be better than you saying something that is stupid, loud, and wrong. And so now I'm like, Usher, I don't know where that leaves you with your audience. Like, where does it leave you? I don't know, but I do know now more than ever, I don't feel moved to give Ticketmaster any money for you. I will not be in the good fight. I will not be in anybody's queue, which, is all right with me because every time I skip a concert, that's more money that goes towards Act 3 and Beyonce for me. But what do y'all think about Usher and Chris Brown going on tour together? Emma Grede, and I don't know if that's the right way to say that lady's last name, but she's the one that works with the Kardashians on all of their brands. She just did an interview with Keke Palmer where she's talking about women in the workplace and how if you work from home, really, girl, like that ain't it. You need to be in them people's office showing your face so you can be the one getting the opportunities and the money and all the things, because working at home is basically going to keep you right where you at home. She also made a statement in that interview about how she blocks out Saturdays from 9 to 12 for her kids. And after that, Emma says she got a life too. Emma says she has life too. And people are really taking a lot of that interview and dissecting it, because a lot of the stuff she said, they say they don't like it. They say they don't like it. They don't like how she came for working from home. And people have really good points about that. They said, number one, where's the analytical data that backs up what you're talking about? That people need to be in the office to achieve any type of success within their company. Where's that data, number one? They said, number two, you, Emma, are so far removed from the whole work from home thing that you probably don't even know what you're talking about from the standpoint of an employee, because you're a CEO. And since we know you're a CEO, we know that you're probably not in the office every day. And if you are in the office every day, it's not for 40 hours a week. You're not in the office all day, every day. Now, you might be quote unquote working all day, but it's not in here. You're not trapped in this cubicle all day. You might have a big corner office that has an amazing view. It's probably designed to the gods, but you're probably not in there 40 to 50 hours a week. Let's keep it a buck. So how can you tell me what would be best for me as far as having a work-life balance, which is why she brought up the whole, she blocks out 9 to 12 on Saturday mornings for her kids. Like, who are you to tell us that? Because you're living a completely different life, Emma. You're living a life that apparently affords you to have the help. And not everybody, and this is what I saw in some of the other comments, and not everybody wants to feel as if they have to block out time like that for their families. And so there's a big conversation happening on Threads about her, about the businesses that she's aligned herself with, about the business partners that she has aligned herself with. There's a conversation about why Keke Palmer keeps having unpopular guests on her podcast, because people feel like Keke is giving these people a platform to say a whole bunch of nonsense. So there's that conversation happening. And then there's a conversation happening about mothers and work-life balance. And if you can afford help, like with a nanny or an au pair, or even just a babysitter on a regular basis, what does that look like for your family? And what is your relationship like with your kids? And so one of the threads that I was able to find actually asked, hey, if you were raised by a nanny, how you treat your mama now? And for the majority of the responses were like, oh, me and my mom are still close. Like, I understand I had to have a nanny because that lady was at work. And so that's great to hear that for most of the people that responded, they didn't have bad relationships with their parents or anything like that. I just think that it's hard for people who live more of what I'm going to say is like a normal life. I think it's hard for us to maybe wrap our heads around the fact that someone else could possibly be raising your kids. And then how does that free you up to do all these other things? Because it does. And that is a luxury and it's a privilege. But at the end of it all, I think people were questioning, but is that a decision that at the end of my life that I would have been happy with? And I think the answer to that is, for some people who just live in that world, they don't know any different. Like they literally don't know any different. Like if you've always been rich, or if you've always lived in a world where people have nannies and au pairs and all this extra help, they don't know what it's like to go to work from 9 to 5, get off work, take your kid to their after school activity, come home, cook everybody something to eat, help with homework, make sure everybody takes a bath and is in bed, and then you wake up the next day and do it all over again. They don't know that pace of life. So they don't have nothing to compare it to. But I thought that the responses to that whole thing was interesting. And if Tamera is catching heat this week on the internet, so is Emma, for two completely different reasons. But actually, when you think about the root of both situations, it comes from the same thing, does it not? Ooh, yes. And maybe that's something we could talk about a little bit deeper on another call. I have been watching television, and I love that for me. Last weekend, I sat here on Sunday and watched The Pit. I ordered Chinese food, and I had myself a good little time watching the whole season of The Pit. I'm all caught up to what will eventually be the season finale one day this week. Show is so good. Enjoyed it so much. They do such a great job with that show. The pace of it is great. The storytelling is great. The characters are likable, except for that new doctor that they introduced us to this season. She's not really all that likable, but I guess we won't really find out why until maybe the next season when the main doctor is gone on his little sabbatical and she takes over. At the end of the last episode, they kind of give a teaser to a situation that she's in, and I don't want to give it away in case people are waiting to binge it all at one time once the season finale comes out. But they kind of give a teaser to give you some of her backstory, so I'm interested in learning more about her, but for the most part, they don't really paint her out to be somebody that you're supposed to enjoy, but I'm hoping there's a plot twist somewhere that makes you have a warmer heart for her, because it's good to see a female doctor lead on this show. Now, what I gotta say about the pit next, though, why they didn't bring our black doctor back, our black lady doctor? She found out she was pregnant. She had a miscarriage. She went home during one of her shifts, and she literally was like Judy on Family Members. She went somewhere and she never came back. And I don't know if they're expecting us to just forget about her altogether, but I'm like, is she not coming back to the show? And is this new lady doctor supposed to be like our new lead lady doctor? And if she is, okay, well then y'all need to and I don't want to make it seem like we always have to like characters, but I'm like, if she's going to be our new lead, make us like her. Like, I want to like her and enjoy her, because y'all took away the last lady doctor. And the residents that are under like those lead doctors, Santos, I like Santos, but Santos be having a lot going on. Her little attitude is a bit much. Then Mel, you gotta love Mel. You have a sweet spot in your heart for Mel. But, Mel needs to take a chill pill, take a deep breath, and kind of like have a woosah moment. Then the other new doctor, whose name I don't even know, she's a doctor, she has a little nose ring and she has glasses. She really didn't get, to me, a good introduction on the show either, because they kind of pitted her against, what's the tall new resident's name? I know I'm going to mess it up, but y'all know who I'm talking about. They put him with Huckleberry, right? And they put the two of them against each other. So they were like competing to see like basically who was smarter. And she only kind of spoke up like once, because I guess in her mind, she's like, oh, he feels like he has to do that. I know all this stuff, but I don't feel like I got to let everybody know. But then she takes a selfie with Huckleberry. I don't know. Her character is just very confusing, and I feel like they didn't write her all that well. And then the other resident doctor, the little Nepo doctor, I don't know what's going on with her this season either. Because they tried to put her up against that same new resident to be like, who's smarter? And it's kind of like, why is that even a storyline? All doctors are smart. And I would just probably like to say that the youngest one, meaning little Nepo doctor, she's 21, and she was actually 20. She turned 21 during the season. She's turning 21 as a doctor. I'm not going to hold you. I think she's probably smarter than all of y'all. But because she's 20, she has no direction. She doesn't know which way she wants to go. And she doesn't want to feel pressured to pick any one thing based on who her parents are. I'm enjoying that show. It's so good. And when the finale comes out this week, I'll be sad to see it go. One of my other shows is back on TV. It's on Apple TV, and it's called Your Neighbors and Friends. It stars John Hamm, who starts out as a corporate guy, married with children. Things happen, and he basically ends up becoming a thief. And he steals rich items, or he steals expensive items from all of his rich friends and neighbors. And the show is really good. I don't want to tell you all of it because it is quite the ride. Start at season 1 and catch all the way up to wherever we are now, which is season 2, probably episode 3. It's very good storytelling. Familiar faces are in the cast. You will not be disappointed. It is a fun watch that you don't necessarily have to, be super serious about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not one of those shows where it's like, oh, if I look down to do one thing while this show is on, I'm going to miss a lot. No, you won't even want to look away while you're watching this show because it is just such a good story with lots of subplots. They do a great job with that. Apple TV low-key has a lot of good shows. You don't hear people talking about them much after the first season of most of the shows, but this is a good one. Another good one on Apple TV is Imperfect Women starring Kerry Washington. And I just have to say, one thing Kerry Washington is gonna do is take a role where she is doing something messy that she ain't got no business. But what I do think about this particular show is that is the case for her and all of her friends on this show. All 3 of them do things that they don't have no business doing. It's very interesting. It's got a nice little pace to it. I don't want to say what happens on the show, but what I will say is there are 3 close friends. One of them dies. And after that one friend dies, lots of secrets come out. There are a lot of things that begin to happen. And we get to watch how everybody kind of survives the fallout of it all. But then you also, because of the way they do the show, you do also get to see the friend who dies. You do also get to see her story from her own perspective. It's really good. If you like it, or if you like shows that are kind of like a murder mystery, but also kind of like these are all of the secrets behind the murder. If you like that, you will like that show. And I guarantee you while you're watching it, you're also going to be like, one thing Kerry Washington is going to do. One thing she's going to do is this thing right here. And she does it very well on this show too. So y'all check that out. Let me see if I had any other things on my list. There was a documentary on Netflix about Mariah Wilson, which is Mariah Wilson was a young girl she was a young lady who was a mountain bike competitor who was killed. And I don't want to tell it. If I tell you who killed her, there'll be no point in you watching the documentary. But she was killed by someone who they didn't think would have done something like that. I'll put it to you like that. Her story is a very interesting one. Her story is a very good teachable moment. Like if you have teenagers, she was in her 20s, but if you have teenagers, because it's not too late for them to learn, definitely talk to them about what you see in that documentary. Meaning, basically, don't lie to people. Don't lie to people and don't be out here playing with people's feelings, because some people are not stable enough to handle certain levels of rejection. So that was really good. And I think that was it. I feel like that was a lot. And it was probably enough. Yes. Also because something is happening with my nose. So I think that is it. I have an appointment at 2:00 and the time is now 12:46. So yeah, girl, let me go. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. If anything ever comes up during the week and you're like, ooh, I want to hear Tia yap about this, girl, message me on Instagram and tell me to talk about it. Coming up this month, I'm going to be talking about Tar Baby, which is this month's book club book of the month. I'm also listening to the Marla Gibbs autobiography on Audible. What else? Yeah, and I think that is it. I'll definitely keep you posted on how my return to Pilates goes. Keep me lifted in your T's and P's about that. And yeah, when you're out, compliment a woman, say something nice to her, make her day, make her smile. Don't compete, don't compare, don't complain. What God has for you is for you, and never knock another woman's hustle. I will talk to you next time, girl. Love you. Bye.